So we knew that Big Mom wasn't like going to take serious damage or even damage at all from what Frankie did to her in the previous chapter, but at least he knocked her down and got some more respect from the Straw Hats, I suppose. This is definitely a W for Frankie, but we'll get more into Big Mom because she gets clowned again in this chapter. And then we're coming to the moment where Yamato is meeting Momonosuke. This eventually had to happen, you know, because of the whole like Odin thing, which he says, and the reaction from Momonosuke and Shinobu was perfect because it's like, who's this psycho? So then we're coming to Frankie continuing his battle with Big Mom, and I think this might be the first time that Frankie has straight up said that, you know, we're going to make Luffy the Pirate King. And even though it's always implied, like it goes without saying, that all of the Straw Hats obviously know that they want Luffy to be the Straw Hat King, and they truly believe that he will, but it's kind of like a big deal when each individual Straw Hat member says it out loud. But he's about to hit Big Mom with the radical beam, and I really wanted to see her take this. I mean, she, you know, of course, would have probably taken it no problem, but I just would have liked to see how she reacts to something like that, which is implied to be one of the stronger attacks throughout the series, despite, you know, Frankie not being like Yonko commander level. But then we get the big numbers reveal here. We're like fully seeing the, like before we saw what the other numbers look like, and they kind of just like look like giants or something, but these guys are straight up like ores adjacent, I suppose, or what Big Mom says, failed ancient giants. So these individuals get like multiple monikers throughout the series. Like I remember Moria called ores the continent puller or the continent pullers, and that gives us more insight into the mythology and the history of the series. Like I always assumed that meant that that's how the Red Line was formed, you know, like back in the day, celestial dragons and the world government, they got, you know, a whole bunch of ancient giants together, and they all like pulled the Red Line to make it to what it is. I'm sure that will be revealed eventually. But I also, the way that, you know, Big Mom says like that Kaido got from Punk Hazard, I assumed that Kaido was doing like a similar thing that Big Mom was with Caesar here, or at least it's heavily implied, because, you know, Big Mom wanted the giants so that she could trick everyone into thinking that she had unity in Totland and she didn't have beef with the Elbaf. But I assume Kaido just went a different route, and he was like, hey, Caesar, you know, I heard you can like replicate big dudes, so hey, how about you make me some more of those ancient giants for me, you know, replicate some synthetic ones for me or something. And it seems like Caesar was way more successful with the ancient giant replication than he was with the giants. But I mean, they are failed nonetheless because they are kind of goofy and not as powerful, I suppose, as what an original one would be, or that kind of goes without saying, because Frankie straight up takes out number 4 here with the radical beam. And I think it's, you know, further cemented because later on in the chapter, we see like some random dude like number 4 has been taken out, and he falls down like an explosion. So I think Frankie might have just one-shotted one of these numbers with the radical beam. I mean, of course, he could come back, but I think this is also showing that these guys are powerful, of course, but they're not like flying 6 level. They are numbers, quote unquote, for a reason. But let's get into the Big Mom clowning here, because Jinbei, one of my favorite characters, comes to the rescue of Frankie. Straight up judo throws Big Mom here with the assist from Robin. This is an incredible sequence. This is kind of, I mean, not exactly burying Big Mom, but man, it is taking her down another notch. And she's always kind of like had these moments of clownery. I mean, like, yeah, she is super imposing. She is a Yonko, but this is the second time, or maybe the third time, that Jinbei has straight up clowned Big Mom. And we know, you know, Jinbei is obviously super powerful. Go back and reread the end of Whole Cake when he has his encounters with her, you know, saving the Straw Hats and the Sunny from her encounter. But wow, it's just, it's so weird to see this happen all the time, because like, could Jinbei do this to like Kaido or Shanks or somebody? It's like, it's, you know, at least my mind goes to that kind of being unlikely. So does that mean that Big Mom is the weakest Yonko? I don't know. It's subjective, of course. She's ultra strong in her own way, but maybe she's the, I don't know, the least effective Yonko, possibly. I mean, obviously, in a one-on-one fight, she would destroy Jinbei eventually. She's just way too durable, way too powerful. You know, it's just inherently in her, more so than, you know, most of the characters in the series. That's like her bread and butter, is just being a massive tank with unreal strength. But maybe she just kind of lacks in the skill department, I suppose. But I'm also happy that Robin is getting like a serious feat here. And of course, it is an assist coming off of Jinbei. But at least, you know, she did something of significance here against, you know, one of the strongest characters in the series. So I'm sure Oda saw that Robin was definitely lacking in just the overall significance in the series, I suppose, because post time skip, she's definitely taken the back seat in a lot of the sequences and fights in this series. I mean, of course, she has one of the most important roles, given that she, comes from O'Hara and everything, and, she'll play a huge part in the last arc, of course, but it's just nice that she's getting some supplementary stuff in the meantime. So then we're coming to Luffy just straight up beelining it to where Kaido is, and it made me realize that, like, wow, they've really shied away from Kaido going against the Scabbards and the Minks, and I'm thinking that we might not see that fight. They might just cut back to it after the fact, and then we just see everyone laying on the ground, Kaido being victorious, which is totally something Oda has done before and will do again. So maybe they'll just leave that for the anime to expand upon. I wouldn't be too mad at it because, there's a lot going on in this arc, and we can only focus on so much. There's so many storylines going on, but Queen re-encountering Luffy here, which is, pretty cool because obviously Queen is a Yonko commander, higher bounty than Katakuri, which, not going into power levels and all that stuff, but, stopping Luffy here pretty easily. And then King coming in. I was super excited for this because I was like, oh, finally, Zoro is going to encounter King, the fight that I've been campaigning for in this whole arc. But no, I don't even know what happens to Zoro in this sequence. It's difficult to see. Granted, we're going to have to wait for the officials, but it's fine. There is time, but maybe in the next chapter we'll set that up because, we see at the end of the chapter all of the Straw Hats converging, Avengers assembled, which is incredible. It's always nice when we get these. I think it's been a long time since we actually had one with all of them in one panel. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, 10 chapters back, we got close to this, but not exactly. But in the final panels, we see King and Queen there, I guess, essentially standing in front of them or blocking them. So maybe we will get some of these big battles here. Ideally, I would like it if Sanji, who, we saw got up from getting blasted by King, and he claimed that the durability from his suit really helped him here, which obviously makes sense. But he took the suit off, which I knew that he would because he was always really opposed to the suit. They had those conflicting opinions back when he originally got it. He was like, I don't want to have to rely on their technology. And then I think it was maybe Brooke or somebody who said, technology is the power of man. And it was kind of, presenting both sides of the argument there. But he took it off, and I'm hoping that he's like, Sanji's like, I'll take Queen, and then Zoro's like, I'll take King, and then Luffy beelines it to where Kaido is, and then we find out what happens between him and the Scabbards. But let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments, guys. If you like the review, please give it a like. Also have a Twitch channel. Please check out the Twitch channel. Also have a Patreon, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day. I'll see you next one.